Hey guys, today we are going to start a new chapter. We're talking starting chapter 4. We actually are going to combine lessons 2 and lessons 3 together because the lessons are very, very similar. Okay. Today we're going to learn how to multiply fractions by whole numbers and multiply fractions by fractions. Okay. The first 4 examples are going to be fractions by whole numbers, and then the second 3 are going to be fractions by fractions. All right, so let's take a look. Our first example says 2 times 2 fifths. The first step we want to do is any whole number, we are going to put a denominator of 1 or give it a denominator of 1. Okay, what does that mean? That means, remember, denominator is the bottom number. So we're going to put a 1 at the bottom. Okay. So for example, if I take this problem and I rewrite it, I'm going to have 2 times 2 fifths. Again, I'm going to put a 1 at the bottom of that whole number. Okay. And then I'm going to multiply. I'm going to multiply the 2 top numbers. And then I'm going to multiply the bottom 2 numbers. So if I go ahead and do that, 2 times 2 gives me 4, and 1 times 5 gives me 5. If I need to simplify, I would go ahead and simplify it. In this case, 4 fifths is already simplified, so 4 fifths is my answer. Okay. Second problem, same thing. I'm going to rewrite it. This time they have the fraction first. So I have 3 fifths times 4. Again, any whole number, which is 4, is going to get a denominator of 1. 4 over 1 is the same thing as just 4. And then go ahead and multiply across. 3 times 4 is 12. And then 5 times 1 is 5. Now, I want to go ahead here and simplify. Okay, I'm going to turn this into a mixed number. I'm going to ask myself, how many times can 5 go into 12? Well, I know 5 can go into 12 2 times. 5 times 2 is 10. I have 2 left over. And then my denominator stays the same of 5, which is 2 and 2 fifths. Okay. Again, if I was going to do this to show the math, it would be how many times can 5 go into 12? 5 goes into 12 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. When I subtract, I'm left with 2. That becomes my numerator. My denominator stays the same as 5. Okay, so my answer to this one is 2 and 2 fifths. You want to make sure you are simplifying if you can. All right, next one. Again, we have the fraction first. So I have 1/4 times 5. Again, I have a whole number of 5, so my whole number is going to get a denominator of 1. Then go ahead and multiply across. 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 1 is 4. Again, 5 over 4 gives me an improper fraction. So I want to simplify. Okay, so by doing that, I'm going to see how many times does 4 go into 5. Well, 4 goes into 5 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. When I subtract, I'm left with 1. That 1 becomes my numerator. My denominator of 4 stays the same. So 5/4 is the same as 1 and 1/4. Okay. Then we can still multiply fractions by solving word problems. Okay, in this example, it says a sloth spends 4 fifths of its life asleep. If a sloth lives to be 28 years old, how many years does it spend asleep? So again, same thing. I'm going to just rewrite the problem. I'm going to do 4 fifths times 28. Well, 28 is my whole number, so that gets a denominator of 1. And I can go ahead and multiply here. If I do 4 times 28, I get 112. And then 5 times 1 is 5. Again, I want to simplify here. I can't leave this as an improper fraction. So I want to see how many times does 5 go into 112? Well, I know 5 goes into 11 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. When I subtract, I get 1. Bring down my 2. 5 goes into 12, again, 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. When I subtract, I get 2. That becomes my numerator because there's no other number for me to bring down. And 5 is going to stay my denominator. So how many years did the sloth spend sleeping? It spent 22 and 2/5 years asleep. Okay. Again, make sure you simplify. By simplifying, all you're doing is dividing those two numbers. Okay. If you divide it in a calculator, you're going to get a decimal. So you might want to actually write out the numbers longhand in order to ensure you get the right answer. Okay. Now we're going to talk about how to multiply fractions by fractions. Same thing. Okay. All I'm doing here, it's actually less steps. I don't have to put a 1 at the bottom because they have a number in they have 2 numbers in my numerator, 2 numbers in my denominator. So the only thing I'm going to do is multiply the tops and then multiply the bottoms. And you just multiply across. So I have 1/3 times 1/4. Multiply the tops. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 4 is 12. It does tell me to simplify if we need to. Well, 1/12 is already simplified, so that's my final answer. Okay. Same thing here. 3/4 times 5/6. Again, I'm going to multiply the tops. I'm going to multiply the bottoms. I am going to show you a way that you can simplify sooner. So I'm going to actually divide this in half and do it 2 different ways, just so you guys can see an easier method. All right. Here I can multiply the tops. 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 6 is 24. Okay. I know here 15 and 24 have a common factor of 3. Okay. So if I divided them both by 3 to simplify, I would get 5/8. So 5/8 is my simplified answer. Okay. If you're not really good about finding the common factor to simplify, there's another way you can do this by cross-canceling. So I can look at the numbers across from each other and say, do they have anything in common? 4 and 5 have nothing else in common, so I can't do anything there. But I know 3 and 6 can be divided by each other. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 3 goes into 6 2 times. Okay, then go ahead and multiply across. 1 times 5 is 5, and 4 times 2 is 8. So if I cross cancel ahead of time, I don't have to do that simplifying at the end. But notice that I still get 5/8 as my answer. So if you're good with your numbers and you can see that you can divide them, go ahead and do that to make your numbers smaller to work with. Okay, then same thing, we can still multiply fractions in a word problem. Frank had half of the lawn left to mow. On Saturday, he mowed 2/3 of what was left. What fraction of the entire lawn did Frank mow on Saturday? Again, I'm going to do 1/2 times 2/3. Okay. Again, I can do this 2 ways, and I'll show you both ways. Multiply across. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Well, 2 and 6 have something in common, so I divide them both by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So he had 1/3 of the lawn mowed on Saturday. Okay, if I did it by the cross-canceling method, again, I have 1/2 times 2/3. I know 2 and 2 have a common factor. They can both be divided by itself. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2, again, is 1. Multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Again, I get the same answer of 1/3. Okay. Remember, when multiplying fractions, just multiply your 2 top numbers, multiply your 2 bottom numbers. If it's a whole number, make sure you give it a denominator of 1. And don't forget at the end to simplify. Feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions. We will be available to help. Hope you guys have a great day, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.